Listen, what are we doing? Oh, I don't, listen, I don't, okay, I'm Jimmy, this is Micah. If anybody knows who Micah is, anybody know who Micah is? Anybody right here? I don't know why we decided to do this tonight.
I thought we were friends.
I don't think we are.
Okay, so full disclosure.
Yeah.
You texted me about this like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even really, like I just read it. You said, hey, are you available this day? We're going to eat some wings. I'm like, yeah, it was great. Sounds like great. And then so our kids go to the same school.
Yep.
And so I was picking up my little Seth yesterday, and he's in the same class as your
Riley.
middle. Yeah.
Yep.
And your wife was like, oh, Jimmy's super nervous about tomorrow. I'm like, why is he nervous? And so then about midnight last night, I was going to bed, and I started pulling up YouTube videos of the thing that we're about to do.
Yes, yeah.
And
I texted you, I was like, I'm in charge. Why am I doing this? Like,
Yeah.
I should be making someone else do
and I
this.
texted you back, do you hate me?
That's very true.
So we'll see how this thing goes. I'm excited to be here with all of you, but not as excited about what's on this table.
Hey, listen, it's going to be an adventure. I think we're supposed to put this on our lap.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Oh, you can put it there if you want.
Just go fancy.
Yeah, I'm excited about tonight. How many of you have ever seen the YouTube channel Hot Ones, or First We Feast and they do the Hot Ones thing? And I'm told that that's a pretty popular thing. And so we're going to attempt to do that tonight. We're going to go through 4 rounds of Buffalo Wild Wings, 4 hottest sauces. And we're going to end the night with the Blazin challenge and see how many we can get there. And I don't know how this is going to go tonight. But let's, do we have to pray before we eat?
This is not of the Lord. He's not going to bless this. What's wrong with
listen,
you?
we're going to pray like I pray with my daughters, okay? So we grab hands.
Yeah, sure.
And this is how I teach my daughters to pray. I say, Jesus, thank you
Jesus,
for all our food. Amen!
Amen.
So I want them to want to pray.
Well, thank you.
I want you to want to eat these.
Well,
Are you a flats or a drums guy?
I usually go drums.
I'm going to go flat first.
Okay.
Oh, no, this is a drum.
That's the drum.
Yeah,
You
this is
don't
a
know
drum, sorry.
wings.
I'm too scared to know what's happening right now.
Okay.
It's going to be a fun night. We're doing this for the next little bit, and then we're doing karaoke after party at B-Dubs. We're all heading over there. We have the whole patio taken out, and anybody loves karaoke? Anybody love karaoke? I keep seeing your small group videos where you're out there doing karaoke. So cheers, bro. Cheers. You already stripped yours.
Yeah,
you got to eat it. It's
no,
right there.
I know how wings work.
All right. So who is Micah Tyler? Let's pretend people don't know.
I shouldn't have went with a flat. I'm just turning into a mess is what I am right now.
Who is Micah Tyler?
Hey, man. Husband, 15 years.
Okay.
Got 3 kiddos.
Family's here tonight. They're in the back.
They're back there in the back. Yeah. Yep. They were pumped for tonight. I'll be honest with you. They were pretty excited about
I think
that.
half the reason. Oh,
This
we're
is
supposed to be on
actually-
the other side.
What
so
is?
your family can see you cry. I jumped on this side.
Yeah. No, I was born and raised in Buna, Texas. Graduated from Buna High. Hey. If we're both here, then who's shopping at the dollar stores? We're tanking the economy of Buna right now as we sit here and eat. But no, I started when I was a senior in high school. Started dating a girl named Casey, and I've been married to her 15 years. And when I was 17 years old, I was 10. Went to Central Baptist Church in Buna. Asked Jesus into my heart at Vacation Bible School. Shout out to Bible School. And when I was 17 years old, surrendered my life to ministry. I feel like I want to be a youth pastor and step out and do that full time. And so started doing youth ministry right out of high school. 18 years old, became a youth pastor at Friendship Baptist Church for 3 years. And then I went to Genesis Baptist Church in Buna for 6 and was super content being a youth pastor. When I was 20, bought a guitar, hoping that one of the kids in the youth group would lead worship because I wanted somebody to lead worship before I would speak and stuff, and none of them wanted to even touch it. And so I went home and learned a song after about a month. I bought a book, and a book is like the internet you can hold if you don't know what that is. I know how young we were here, so just making sure. No, you'll get that later. So I went and just learned a song, started leading worship for the youth group. Had buddies start calling me up saying, "Hey man, can you come and lead at our next event? We can't afford to bring in a real band." Yeah. I was okay, yeah. So I would go and lead worship for the groups and stuff like that. And when I was 27, felt the call to step out and do music full time. And so we sold over half what we owned, bought a single wide mobile home trailer, and started traveling. I worked a couple of odd jobs. I was a substitute teacher at an elementary school, and I drove a sausage delivery truck, which is a real job. How do you think you get your sausage? It was me. So I started doing that for the first couple of years, and now fast forward 8.5 years later, and still trying to do the same thing we were doing, 8.5 years ago, which is just to be faithful. Whatever's in front of us, we want to be faithful to. We just get to be faithful to some different things now than we were before. And
he's trying to say this in a way. Here's what I love about Micah is this is his church, right? This is his home church. His son Noah's in the youth group here at 412.
Yeah.
And
Hannah just started this year.
She started 6th grade?
Mm-hmm.
The youth group's big. I don't know everybody. But okay, yeah, Hannah's in youth group
she's
too.
little too.
Hey, Hannah, I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. It's going to be great. And I can promise that her small group leader knows her name. That's what we promise around here. But
hey,
is your small group leader here? Hannah, your small group leader's here?
No.
Shaylee's here? Yeah, Shaylee's here.
Shaylee, oh.
Shay,
Hey,
Hannah,
Shaylee.
make sure you guys say hi.
I haven't met yet, Shaylee.
Hey,
How
we'll
are you?
save wings for your family.
Oh,
if you guys want them, we'll save you wings, guys. But Noah, for sure.
Yeah.
And so Micah just did 5 tour dates where he was on tour. He just did 5 dates in the last week, right?
Yeah.
And he leaves at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Actually,
5 p.m. 5 p.m.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
He actually pushed back a rehearsal. You're about to go out with Crowder and Mercy Me.
Yeah.
And you pushed it back rehearsal so he could be here with us here tonight. I love it.
Awesome. So I'm actually
For the record, you want to be here.
I wanted to be here. I'm flying to Buffalo tomorrow, and we're actually going to eat like the home of the original buffalo wing, which is really in Buffalo.
Awesome.
Yeah, place called Duff's.
Are you going to get the hottest ones possible?
No, I'm not, of course I'm not. That's not fun.
These are actually very good.
These are good.
I would eat these recreationally.
Yeah,
for sure.
For sure.
I honestly would.
Sure.
And so yeah, he gets to lead all over the country at this point, right?
Okay, so tell him your story now.
Huh?
Who's Jimmy Banks?
Who's Jimmy Banks?
Turn the table.
Jimmy Banks, a husband. I don't have. How many years have you been married?
15.
15. I just celebrated 13 years last week.
Hey.
My wife and I have been married 13 years. I got 3 girls. I call them my lady pack. Kate, Riley, Maggie. Riley's in the same grade as Seth at school, and she's awesome. Hey, Rye, I love you. And they're watching online right now. And I got Kate, and I got Heather. Heather's the wife, and Kate is 7. That was weird. I don't know. We're just starting. It's crazy that I get to do what I do. You know what I mean? Like, just the passion of I love PYA because I get to pastor PYA here, obviously. And I was born in Florida, raised in Pennsylvania. We moved there when I was like a year and a half. And then went to Bible college in Missouri, met a girl from California, went back to ministry in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now I'm like a country boy from the middle of Pennsylvania.
I've never lived outside of Buna in my entire life. never. 77612 all the way.
All the way.
So we are living the opposite life.
I think I've driven through
Buna?
Yeah.
Did you get a gas station burrito?
No, we met, remember?
Well, the Shell station.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, the one place you can run into somebody at Buna.
We were on the way home from camp.
You saw the pride and joy. Come on.
That's awesome. But no, I've been at Praise for the last 5.5 years, or just over 6 years now, and it's been amazing. I look out at this, and PYA was a small group of 10 people meeting in a home, and just one small group. And over the last 3 years, seeing it grow to this has been incredible. And now we're a bunch of small groups, 13 of them all over our city. Amen, right?
That's awesome.
And it's awesome, man. It's good to be a part of it.
Okay, so let me ask you, because we both been how long you been in ministry for then?
Since 2006.
Okay, so you've been at it
I don't do math.
Like 13 years then?
13 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
That was fast math. That's Buna math. Don't do subtraction. I think sometimes it's hard for pastors, guys who are in ministry, especially because you started younger, huh?
Yeah.
You kind of feel like a professional Christian. Like people look at you that way, but it's more than that, right?
Yeah.
For you, it's like, well, how do you live your life as just like a believer? Like, is that just not take away the job position, the office, and that kind of thing? Like, what makes you follow Jesus?
I always say that I'm a Christian who gets to be a pastor, right? That's kind of my thing. Is like if I wasn't a pastor, I would still be just as passionate a follower of Jesus. If I didn't have the title of pastor. And I've always kind of make sure I oriented myself in that way, just because that's where I operate in my gifting and out of my overflow. And if I wasn't up here preaching, I would still be down there worshiping. And it's just always kind of been that way for me. And so that's kind of where it is. But I do feel that, and I'm sure you do as well. You travel the country, and that sort of stuff. But for me, it's just like, I met Jesus. Like, and I know that sounds weird because it's just like I didn't meet the human Jesus.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I grew up in a Christian house. I was taught the Christian faith growing up, and was able to get to a place to where it's like I felt like I was a pretty good person, and I felt like my good would outweigh my bad finally in one day, and God would look like, you're mostly a good person or something like that. And I started to realize that even like the bad that was in my life, it's not an outweighing a thing. It was, you're still guilty of it. I remember, I tell this story. I remember I got a speeding ticket on the way home from camp. And, right?
As a youth pastor or as a
This
student?
is like last year. Last year.
Is this a confessional?
I genuinely yelled at the cop. And I was like, aren't there some criminals you can go catch? I'm a pastor. And I was tired, right? All right. So I was like, aren't there some criminals you can catch? I'm a pastor, blah, blah, blah. And he gave me the ticket anyway.
Yeah.
I remember being there. Some of you were with me that night, right? We went to Whataburger afterwards.
You had witnesses? That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm so angry. They gave me a ticket. There's some criminals out there that
Were
should
you
catch.
speeding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what they said.
You made it sound like you pushed your car faster than it was supposed to go or something.
They're like, Jimmy, you're an idiot. You were speeding. You deserve the ticket. And I was like, I know they should be busting meth heads or whatever and that sort of stuff. And that was genuinely like my thought process. And
probably the way you were screaming, he may have thought you had a little bit in your system.
Probably. I can neither confirm nor deny. I'm just kidding. But I remember waking up the next morning, and it was in those private moments with the Lord that he was just like, dude, you sped, you were guilty. And just because you do a lot of good things, when you break the law, you deserve the punishment of the law. And it's just a reminder in my life every day that just because I'm a pastor doesn't like absolve me of my sin.
Yeah.
I still need a savior. And I actually heard a sermon recently, and the guy was like, Christianity is a crutch. And people are like, oh, it's not a crutch. Yeah, it's not a crutch. It's more than that. It's a savior. Because I am leaning on more than a crutch. I'm leaning on a savior because I can't do this on my own strength. And I get to be a pastor, but I have this like personal relationship with Christ so that I can be a better father, so that I can be a better husband, so that I can be a better son to my dad and all that sort of stuff. And so, man, you got to live out of the overflow. How's that look like for you, though? Because you're traveling the country, performing in front of hundreds of people every single night, thousands of people some nights. It's like, what is that like for you to like, you're a professional Christian, but like it's out of the overflow. What's that like for you in your context?
I had somebody tell me this one time. I think it's super easy to like make this translate for all of us too. I will never stand before the Lord. I will never stand before him one day and him say, well done, thy good and successful musician.
Wow.
Like it's a faithful servant. Like it's not about our titles. It's not about the things that we can do because honestly, whatever we can do is not good enough.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
There's no goodness in me that I could offer to my children, to my wife, to the people in my small group, or to any crowd that stands in front of me. And man, one thing for me is I never want to come home, because when I'm out, I traveled 160 days last year. There was one year I traveled about 250 days trying to be faithful and do these things. And what's hard is that if I came home and I sit there in front of my kiddos, I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry I missed your T-ball game. I'm so sorry I missed your dance recital or whatever that situation. But man, the crowds cheered so loud for me.
Wow.
Like, what kind of dad is that? Yeah. You know, me telling my wife, like, I'm so sorry I couldn't help you get the kids to school this morning, but you should have heard the way, you can't believe how many CDs I sold last week. Wow. That's a horrible thing. Yeah. But if I can walk out of my house and tell them that I lifted Jesus up so that he could draw men to himself, that's a worthwhile reason for daddy to go out and do these things. Yeah. And we're still trying to figure that balance out as a family too. Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, there's no amount of success that you can find, because at the end of the day, you could also fail. Yeah. And if you're hinging your joy on your successes, you are setting yourself up for failure ultimately. Yeah. And the Lord will give you failure, so that you can find out that we don't find our worth in our successes.
What are you finding? Let's bring out the next wing.
I thought I could just keep going.
Look, if I keep talking, hey, we forgot to eat the hot ones. You know, we started there. Matt, you can bring out the next hot wing. I think we're upgrading to habanero now. So I don't know what that's about. That's too early, man.
No, sir.
You're not allowed to go Pepto-Bismol this early. Now, I'll be honest, this is my favorite wing at Buffalo Wild Wings. Awesome. I just can't do them because they're so hot. And you get like 2 or 3 in. So I'm going to eat 2 of these. I ate one of the first one. I'm eating 2 of these.
Okay, let me just deconstruct the sentence you just said. This is your favorite, but you don't get these.
How are these hot still? This is awesome. Anyway.
Hot wings.
So how are you learning? Because I know for me, like, can I just be honest? It was the biggest wing.
Yeah.
It's like you reach in for the fries and you pull out the long fry.
Yeah. What
You're
a
like
joy.
Jonah pulling the long straw. Bible joke. Anyway, but no, he pulled the short straw.
He did, yeah.
He pulled the long straw.
Well, and then he ran the other way. And
Yeah,
got
either way. Yeah. Is that milk?
That is 100% milk.
God bless you.
Oh, 100.
God bless you. All right, dink it. Sink it. Those are my boys. Good mythical morning. I like those guys. I say they're my boys. They don't know me yet.
What am I eating right now?
Mango habanero.
Oh.
They're my favorite wing at B-Dubs. They're so delicious. As you're chomping on that, and I'm going to ask the question because you have to suffer first for the gospel. How are you learning what success looks like? Because I know for me, I'm a little guy, like, I wanted to be a pastor since I was like 12. And I'm like, I can't wait to be a pastor. I want to do that. And I had a mentor in my life say, start now and like learn how to, just the title doesn't allow you to just share the gospel, but you should, all this. It was an awesome growth strategy. But I also remember being like, I can't wait to be a pastor.
Yeah.
And you're younger and your goals are wrong kind of sometimes.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I'm in a huge ministry, that's going to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we have 400 kids in the youth group on Wednesday nights, and we have 150 to 200 in a young adult ministry on Tuesday nights. And the number itself doesn't satisfy.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn what success actually means for me. What does success look like for you? Because you're dreaming about, I'm just playing a show. And now all of a sudden you're playing in front of thousands of people with Crowder and Mercy Me. Like this is legit now. You're there. What does success look like for you as you've kind of grown into that? What was that journey like for you?
One of my favorite quotes is comparison is the thief of joy.
Wow.
And so I can always look over and see some. What's the matter, bro?
So good though.
It's your favorite. For me, there's definitely times where I can look forward and say, man, okay, so a week from tonight, I'm playing at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. Big deal. It's going to be incredible. But here's the deal, man. If I lose the opportunity to be faithful to the things in front of me, which are my wife, my kids tonight, and I'm so worried about tomorrow. The Bible says that tomorrow's got enough worries of its own. It also has enough joys of its own. It's got its own set of things to look forward to. And it's great to be goal-oriented and that kind of stuff. But what I've learned is that we can only be faithful to today. I can't do anything about yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about tomorrow. I can prepare for tomorrow. But if I start getting so excited about Tuesday of next week, and I miss the opportunity to love my wife, love my kids, love the Lord with all my heart, with all my strength, with all my might, eat wings with you.
Yes, Lord.
Preach the gospel. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we can only be faithful to what's in front of you. So, like, even like some of you guys are like, maybe feel called to ministry and that kind of stuff. And like, if you're like, man, Lord, if you'll give me 20 people to talk to, then I'm going to be so faithful to that. Why would he trust you with 20 if you don't have the 5 people around you right now hearing about who God
Get
is?
it. Wow.
Like that's the thing, man. Like, listen, if I hinge my dreams, I was like, Lord, I'll be faithful when I get to this point. Wow. I got to tell you, I've got some of the worst ministry stories. like I've played. Can I tell you my favorite story?
Please, yes.
I'll try to keep it
absolutely.
really quick because I know we're trying to.
I don't care. Go for it.
Okay. You just keep eating.
I love these. They're so good.
Yeah. So I signed a record deal about 4.5 years ago, and signed this deal. And the next week I get a phone call saying, "Hey, Mercy Me wants you to come open at the Texas State Fair." Like the next week, and I was like, "Is this what it's like?" And I was like, "This is incredible." And so I looked at my calendar. Well, 4 years before that, when I first started doing this full time, I had a guy named Pat Camerata who's over in Port Neches. I love Pat. And he just told me, he said, "Hey man, be a man of integrity. When you put a date down, you be committed to that date. Like you're going to be faithful to the thing that God puts in front of you." Great. So I said, "When's the Texas State Fair?" They said October 17th. And I checked my calendar, and there was a youth camp that was going on, or like youth retreat, or just a retreat that weekend. And I looked at it, I'm going like, oh boy, it's going to be at like this camp in the woods. And I was like, okay, so Mercy Me or camp in the woods. And I was like, but I just said, Lord, this is apparently I'm supposed to be at this place. So I called them back. I was like, hey, I can't do it. And they're like, okay. I was like, we'll probably do this again sometime. They're like, we hope so. And they hung up the phone. And I was like, oh no. So I was like, okay, but like I thought the Lord was going to show up and going to be incredible. And so 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from this band they were losing their lead singer. It's a big Christian band. They're like, hey, we want you to come open up for us on this farewell tour. We're coming through Huntsville, Texas. You want to come play this thing? I'm like, absolutely, I'd love to. I said, when's the date? And they said October the 17th. And I was like, let me check my calendar. Oh, it's that youth retreat again. Oh, great. So I was like, well, no, I can't do that. Actually, I'm already committed to this thing. A month later, it's like 2 weeks before the retreat starts, I get a phone call from a buddy of mine who's a songwriter in Nashville. Said, hey, we're doing this big conference, and I want to have somebody who's like a new Christian artist, and want to have a veteran on stage. So I want to see if you would come up with Michael W. Smith and that you guys would talk about your journeys and stuff. And I'm like, oh my, yeah, of course I would do that. Yeah, let me know when it is. He's like, it's October 17th. And I was like, I know that I'm booked that day. like I know that I'm supposed to be in the woods that day.
Wow.
And so I ended up, so the whole time I'm telling my band there with me, I was like, it's going to be good, guys. It's like, don't stress. Like the Lord's going to show up. And I'm expecting like a dove to hit my shoulder. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the whole thing's going to be amazing. And so we show up, and they forgot. It was in Piney Woods camp. You guys been to Piney Woods? Piney Woods. So this was an off season for them. It's very irregular for them. So they forgot to like turn the water on. And so when they turned the water on, all the old water had been sitting there for about 3 months. So you smelled like rotten eggs when you got out of the shower. So like you came out worse than you went in. Okay? They also forgot to bring all the wires for the sound system. Oh. And I found out it was a junior high camp. So that's an extra level. And so it's just a bunch of 7th and 8th graders, and we show up, and I got 2 that live in my house. And so we show up, and so I'm actually like, we don't have anything for you to play through. You got your full band here. Do you want to just like plug your acoustic into the electric amp, and then you just sing into this speaker we found that we're going to put on the floor? I'm like, man, that's better than Mercy Me. And so I was like, so like it was the 16th and 17th. We played worship service that night. It was awful, really, really bad. The next morning I woke up, smelled like rotten eggs. I was just like, okay, this is going to be a good day. Worship service that night came around. We played our worship set, and I'm getting frustrated at this point. I'm just like, Lord, like, why are I was a man of integrity. Yeah. I showed faithfulness to this thing, and I was just like I was very prideful about how humble I was. And so and so I remember we played the set, we go to the back, and I'm just mad. I go get in the closet, and I told the Lord, I was like, hey bud, it gets better. I was like, or worse, whichever way you want to look at it. I was like, hey man, listen, you owe me one. Wow. This is what I told the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I was like, you owe me one. And I remember I go back out there, and it was like the pastor, every head bowed, every eye closed. I'm going to call the band forward. So I go back up there, put my guitar on. We're going to play, we're going to be close to your side, so heaven is real and death is a lie. What's that song? I want to hear voices of angels above. Great I Am. Good job. I taught him in youth. And so, Great I Am. So I get my guitar on, and as the band leads, you come, okay? I want to be close to your side. I'm saying this to the Lord. And I look down, and there's this very sweet-looking 7th grade girl sitting right in the front row, and we lock eyes. Just as she looks at me and throws up.
I think going to say she got saved.
No.
Like she came to the Lord.
No. She looked at me and just goes, oh!
I'm trying to eat wings, bro.
So here's the worst part.
I'm an instant puker. The moment you talk about puke, I puke.
Oh, no.
Remember when Big Cat was upstairs that one time? Oh. All right, finish the story. Don't talk about that.
I won't.
Matt, bring out the next wings.
So anyways, that thing happened. And then the youth pastor looks in the back, and he looks at me and just goes, keep going. I said, heaven is real, death is a lie. Play the whole song. They rush her to the back. They throw a comical amount of paper towels on top of everything. I finish the song, and then it's over.
Okay.
And I got in my car.
Is your story over?
The story's over. But I started driving home, and there's a purpose to it.
Okay, please.
And I just told the Lord, I was like, sometimes faithfulness is literally just being faithful.
Wow.
It's not reward driven. It's not instant gratification, because it was the worst. That was the worst thing. That was the worst thing I could have been doing on that day. But can I tell you something really, really fun? And listen, any awards that are given to us in our lifetime, the best thing we could do is just give them back to the feet of Jesus and lay them down.
That's so good.
But a couple years later, I get nominated for a Dove Award for New Artist of the Year, okay? And it was this really sweet thing. I lost, by the way, but it's fine. But it was awesome. And I was like, it was such an honor. It's such a huge deal. We celebrated as a family. It was so sweet. And they send me the tickets in the mail. And when I got them, I opened them up October 17th.
No.
Yeah. So it was that, but the Lord just it's like he reminded us in that moment. It's like, you don't do this for anything else except for to be a servant-hearted person and serve him. Because the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. And sometimes that's taking egg showers in the middle of Southeast Texas. So that's it.
I mean, for real though, like, hey, let's go. Come on. This is wild. This is the second hottest. And is that cheating? You're not allowed to do that.
Wait, is this like doping?
This is
like
second hottest. This is wild. And then we're doing Blazin's next, buddy. So
Okay.
I'm just doing one of these because I'm ready for Blazin.
So ready.
You know, it's so good. It's so good because, you know, I always heard it like, if you can't be faithful with what you have, there's no way you're going to be faithful with what God is going to give you.
Yeah.
And also, if you would really even know what God's going to give you, you'd be too scared of it. So just be faithful with it where you're at now and allow God to grow you. One of my favorite aspects of Christianity is it's not perfection, it's grace. It's connection, right? Because the more you're connected to God, it empowers you. Not grace that's abused so you can keep on sinning, right? Romans 6. But grace that encourages you and motivates you to love God and to live in response to that. And so, like, you know, just that path and that growth, like, yeah, I get to lead this ministry and I have whatever success looks like for me, and you have success that the world might paint for you, but genuinely, and that's why I think you and I just connect on such a, like, it's a crazy level that we connect.
Yeah.
It's because it's just about being faithful. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, it's faithfulness and whatever God's putting on your plate, and well done, good and faithful servant. It's so good. Let me tell you what success is for me, because
Please.
it brought
By
me
the
to
way, this hit the corners of my mouth right here. And I was
kidding.
like, I can feel my mustache.
Yes. Oh, nice.
Which is not my typical thing. So go ahead.
So this is
I'm
what
gonna have another one.
this is what faithful looks. I mean, this is what success looks like for me. You know, I want to do what I do for Jesus, and then He's the one who transforms lives. And you know, for me, like, you know, what we get to do is so great. There's today on my Facebook feed. You know, like you know what Facebook is? It's where all the old people are on social media. And
It's like old Instagram.
Today on my TikTok, I saw a thing, and
So relevant.
it's a true story though. And this is like PYA. This is genuinely my heart for you guys and why we put such effort into stuff that we do. In 2017, 2 years ago today, on my memories, I baptized a young girl named Alex. And less than a year later, she died in a car accident. And that's why I do what I do. It's because, and she like writes this beautiful little thing about how like God has changed her life and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like, I don't do it for the crowds. I do it for the one, right?
man.
And if you're in the room tonight, you are that one. God brought you here for a reason, for you to respond to His love tonight. I've had that day where I gave my life to Christ, and the same with you as we're hearing that. And like, don't ever feel like you're too far from God. God brought you here tonight specifically, and I know that to be true, so that you would hear the message of His love for you, and you'd be able to hear that. And that's what success looks like for me. And so, like, literally, like, you can take what the enemy took for evil. You can, wow. I'm terrible with lyrics.
No. I've never heard that song before. That was
Really?
the first time I heard it right over here,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I was going like, golly. Because here's the thing, man. Like, I think that for some of you in this room, you're like, well, I've already been disqualified. Like, I've already messed up. Or things that you've done, or things that have been done to you. Like, you feel like you're going to just kind of live as this thing that has already happened. And like, you've already, like, the cards have been dealt. Or you look at guys who are in ministry, or like some of your, you know, all-star Christian friends or whatever, and you're like, well, I can't be like them. But the thing is, we don't judge ourselves against brothers and sisters. That's not like our pecking order that we look at. We look to the cross, and sometimes success is just being forgiven. Like, that's successful. Being forgiven by the blood of Jesus is a win. That victory that we're given is nothing to do with you. Like, we are, in the story of David and Goliath, we're not David. We are the Israelites trembling on a hilltop day after day, unable to come and face the giant until the one who did not know sin became sin so that we could have the righteousness of Jesus when He came down the hill, slay the giant on our behalf. But here's the beautiful thing. Here's my favorite part about that story, okay? Like, it's such a stellar, like, I wish Mel Gibson would make a movie about it. Like, it would be amazing. Like, it's like an incredible story. David and Goliath falls down. The Israelites have been like literally shaking up there. And like when he come up, Goliath would yell curses at God. And they'd be up there going like, I can't believe he's doing that. I'm not going to go. No, I'm not going to go either. And then David comes down. But as soon as the giant fell to the ground, what did the Israelites do? They come running down the hill in victory. Why? Wow. Because they've been given the victory by the one who went before them.
Wow.
So all of a sudden, these guys who've been scared for days and days, unable and petrified to go down the hill, all of a sudden they share in the victory because their team wins.
Yeah.
So when it comes
So
to
good.
Jesus, it's not about your failures or your successes. It's
good.
all his
so
successes,
good.
and we just get to win.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And so sometimes the best that you can offer the Lord is need.
Wow.
That's the best you got. Lord, I need you. And you know what he says? Come, those who are weary laden,
Wow.
and I will give you rest.
Yeah.
That God demonstrates his own love for us in this way, that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us.
Yeah.
Romans 5:8.
Yeah.
It's not about your goodness.
Wow.
It's about your need.
Wow.
It's about his goodness, you know?
Yeah.
It's like those of you who are feeling like defeated and feel like you're already like, you know, behind the game, or like, I can't catch up to this guy. Don't look. You set your eyes on the cross, and today the best you can offer is, Jesus, I'm sorry, will you forgive me? And you're forgiven. That's a victory today.
That's so good.
That's successful.
That's it.
That's success.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I hope we're successful in this next
I
round.
don't know. I brought some stuff.
Okay.
I brought some stuff.
We're about to go into Blazin.
Could I
So this
get that?
is
I
the-
brought a box. Because listen. Okay. All right.
about to go
So I started reading. So
Uh-huh.
on the Scoville, that's the Scoville is like the pepper, however
Yeah.
hot it is and stuff.
Like a jalapeno is like 12.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
This next wing is 60 times hotter than a jalapeno.
Nice.
Okay. It is 350,000 on the Scoville
That's-
rating.
Is
One of the
this
people
helping or hurting me
One
right
of the
now?
people on my Instagram, their advice for me was, bro, you can get through it. Just don't touch it or let it touch your lips. And I'm like, that's how I eat everything. You're literally like, hey, the last 36 years, all that knowledge about eating, throw it away.
Somehow get it in there without touching yourself.
So I straight up brought gloves.
You did? Matt, you got them?
We got those gloves?
You got the gloves? We got
I'm
some
gonna need
Blazin
something.
coming.
I'm gonna have to.
While he's bringing those out, I want to ask you about the power of music, right? That's one of the
Sure.
really one of the things I want to hear from tonight.
Yeah.
You get to travel and use the power of music.
Yeah.
And you get to write songs, right? You get to write songs that
Yeah.
point them to Christ, use the power of music. How have you seen that in action, right? You get to see that in action all the time. And just, I just more of like a personal question.
Like a surgeon. Oh, I dropped one. That one's now dirty. Thank you.
No, I'm good. I'm fine.
What?
I'm good.
Oh, what a man. This is the closest I've ever gotten to medical school in my entire life. I dropped out of Lamar after a year. Married a sugar mama. She was a kindergarten teacher.
Oh.
Fellas. This is literally like the lamest thing I can do, I know. I'm just gonna,
You're all right, dude.
Okay, so music.
You're the other one.
Thank you. Yeah.
How have you seen the power
I
of
can't do
music?
two things at once. So for me, I've got two rules when I write music. The number one rule is I want to make sure it lines up with God's word completely.
Yeah.
Because if I walk out of my house for any other reason than to lift Jesus up, it's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm not going to miss time with my family to do anything just for me to go out and receive some sort of an applause because somebody liked the melody of a song. Like I want the melody to be great. I want people to like the songs. But at the end of the day, if all they hear is God's word in that song, it will not return back void. I know that for a fact, number
so
one.
good.
But number two, something that's very important for me, the reason why I write all my own music is because I want it to be something that if any of you were to come and catch me and say, hey man, you made a record 5 years ago and this lyric was in that song, what does it mean? I can tell you because there's bones and teeth in that lyric.
Wow.
Like I've lived in there. Like that's something I actually have walked through.
Yeah.
And the Lord teaches us things sometimes as we're writing those things. So I wrote a song called Even If was a Mercy Me song. They wrote it after me. Don't tell them. This isn't being televised, is it? Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So they don't follow me on Instagram.
I do. I follow you. I got you.
Oh, now I'm dirty. This one's, I busted this one. I'm just going to go with it. It's fine. I'll just be a man. So I wrote the song Even Then, and there's a lyric in that song that says, that I wrote a year before Harvey came, that says, and even when the waters won't stop rising, and even when I'm caught in the dead of night, I know, no matter how this ends, God, you're with me even then.
Wow.
And I wrote that lyric knowing that there's truth in that promise. And I've walked through like not physical waters and stuff like that, but like I felt like in my life I've walked through struggles that kind of feel that way. But then all of a sudden Harvey comes through, and I'm just going to be very transparent here. We're building a house right now, but we still live in the single wide mobile home that God called us to. Like just so you know. any successes that you may think that we have been able to garner and carry. We are still living in a single wide mobile home that we bought 8.5 years ago to be faithful to the Lord. And that's been something that he has really been like, and we're so grateful. We've made more memories in that house than anywhere else we've ever lived, so we're super grateful for it. But when Hurricane Harvey came through, there was so much floodwater under the house. The one perk to living in a trailer is that your house is off the ground. And so like the water went under and we were very grateful, but what happens, it washed our foundation, and so like it bent our house.
Wow. And
so we had these holes start developing our floors. And we thought that was going to be the biggest storm that we faced the whole year. And then about 5 weeks after Harvey, my younger brother Daniel was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And it was like so hard because you can buy flashlights and batteries for a storm, but you don't know when that kind of stuff's coming. Wow. So it hit us really, really hard, and we're just like sitting there going like, God, you know, I've got this song that just sings about God's promises that I believed those promises then. But what we learned is that our circumstances do not dictate the truth behind God's promises. Wow. Okay? So like if your life is hard, it doesn't make those promises any less true. If your life is easy, it doesn't make them any more true. And so all of a sudden we sang that song through like Harvey and through walking through those things. And they were just as true before the storm came, before we found out about cancer. They were just as true when the water is just beating on the side of our house and washing out that foundation, and he's finding out that there's cancer in 5 organs in his body, and it's spread through his stomach, and it's like this crazy thing. It was just as true as we're trying to rebuild a home, and he's going through chemotherapy, and it's just as true with a house that's now put back together, and a brother who got to ring a bell as a cancer survivor about 6 months ago. Wow, like they're just as true, you know? So, but to me, what I love is that these songs that are so personal to me, a lot of these songs I never think are going to leave my shower, you know? Like, they're gonna be like those are just for me.
All mine stay there.
So. See, some of mine should probably. But what I found out is that they have become other people's very personal songs. But that's I think at the end of the day, I'm trying to write prayers that are honest from an honest place, and I think that sometimes they'll hit somebody else because they can see the honesty in that. Yeah. And so that's important for me too. That's the thing with music. I'm a person who is a fan of music too. Yeah. Like I'm not just writing things and then just like being I love all types of music, and so the power of being able to be a part of that and knowing that I've got songs that play on Christian radio stations. Yeah. That's cool and all, but my favorite stories are the ones where those Christian stations, their music has made it into hospital rooms, has made its way into cars. I had a girl one time that introduced me to her 4-month-old son, and right before she introduced me, she told me that she was on the way to an abortion clinic because she had a guy that when she found she was pregnant, she went and she was going to this clinic and stuff, and she was just asking, Lord, would you speak to me? She flipped to the station, she found KLBT in Beaumont, Texas, and it was this old song I had called Mighty to Love a long time ago, and this song reached her, and then she said, I pulled my car over and I wanted to introduce you to my son. Like, that's the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing right now. That's why I leave my house. Because I know that the gospel does not return back void, and it's a worthy thing to carry. And if it was around Southeast Texas, and that's all I ever got to do, it's a worthy thing to carry. But the fact that I get to go and do it in some really cool venues at this point in my life is awesome. Mm-hmm. But if I end up coming back to Southeast Texas and I got to pick up some shifts on a sausage delivery truck to make ends meet, it's going to be just as worthy of a cause to be doing. Cool. So that's awesome. That's
well, we appreciate you, man. And I think, like, one of the reasons why I was so confident in bringing you on the stage with me, because it's a level of trust, right? Yeah. And knowing your heart for that sort of stuff. But and it's also one of the reasons why, I'm so thankful for our musicians here at Praise.
Oh yeah.
Worship is always incredible. We're going to do a couple songs in a minute, but music is powerful. Allow it to be powerful to you. Allow the emotion to rise something out of you. Like that song, I will build my life, right? How many of you have ever sang before? How many of you have ever drank water before in your life? Any of you? Raise your hand if you're okay. You're in church and you raise your hand. It's that weird, right? Don't make it as weirder than that. You all just raised your hand in church. It's like, I will build my life. Yeah, God, I will. And I didn't sing that at 12 and then be like, well, I know that truth. I'm not going to raise my hand tonight. I'll build my life. Yeah. And it reminds me of the good news of the gospel. And I love my kids listen to your music, and it's just awesome, and that sort of stuff. So all that sort of stuff, I love it. We're doing the Blazin Wing Challenge now.
I thought you forgot.
Matt, bring them. Nope, Matt, bring them. And it's all the serious questions are over. I'm just going to shotgun some stuff. I have some surprise questions for you. Why is there sauce? Is this the Blazin sauce?
That's the Blazin sauce.
Oh,
Heads
my
up.
gosh.
No thanks.
Here we go. Am I supposed to put it on? Is it the last dab? Is that what they do?
Whatever you want to do.
Is it on there? Is it on there?
There's some on there, yeah.
Okay, are we praying again before we do this?
The Lord is not going to
All right,
bless
listen,
this.
as
I'm
soon
just
as-
telling you the truth. This is not of.
As soon as we eat it, I'm gonna ask you a question. You can ask me a question. We'll have some fun with it, and we're gonna wrap up. Okay?
We'll have some fun.
A couple more minutes of this. Okay, this one.
You can have that one.
Oh, look how saucy it is. I'm scared. Okay, I am not dipping it. Look, it's covered. I will not be peer pressured. No. Okay. Yeah. You're not supposed to touch your lips. Here we go. Dipped. I dipped as well. Oh gosh. Okay. Now listen, that was stupid. We shouldn't have did it. You have a YouTube video. 16 million views. What's it feel like to have 16 million people see your face? What is that like?
All I can think about my face right now is that I don't want this face anymore. It's fun. I get noticed at airports sometimes, which is weird. But at the same time, I don't think about it. What's weird is that it actually, this seems like a humble brag.
You did too?
Uh-huh. Oh, you're doing two? Cool.
If you're doing two, I'm doing two. God bless America. What's it like? I'm dipping, bro. Get on my level. Come on, man. What's it like? 2-3 million views. I'm okay.
It's fine. What's it like? What do you do? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. What's it like being a youth pastor with 450 kids in a room?
It's weird. Nobody listens in that whole section over there. It's awesome.
That's that.
And it's one night I said,
that dark
"Hey,
corner."
blue hat, shut up, blue hat." I didn't say shut up. I was like, "Blue hat," and the kid never wore a blue hat again, but he still comes. So it's not that bad.
My youth pastor once told my youth.
What's your
pastor,
least favorite song? What's your least favorite
Of
song you've ever
mine?
written? Yeah.
Oh,
you hate it. You hate listening to it. What's your least-
I got some old stuff.
I'm all right.
I thought you were drinking the. I thought you were
You
going-
did three? You did three?
Uh-huh.
Get on my level, bro. I'm on my three.
My least favorite song is a song called "You Make Sense."
awesome.
It does make sense, but I just don't like it. What's your least favorite sermon? That's not a dish.
Oh, that's a good question.
Mine's this one.
Wait, you don't like my sermon tonight?
No, your sermon's great.
I'm fine. Will you sing with me? Will you sing with me?
Sing what?
Sing. Hold on, I have the lyrics to different over here.
I'm off
Sing
the
with me
clock.
different. Come on, let's sing together.
Go ahead.
I don't know.
You don't know the words, do you?
I wanna be different. I wanna be changed. All of me is gone. And all that remains
Is
a fire so bright. The whole world is changed. It's so hot. It hurts.
That's not the right lyric. The note was great.
I'm not good at lyrics, bro.
How many have you eaten?
Huh?
I've eaten like 12. Or like 5.
I can't feel my arms. My arms stopped working.
What are we doing right now?
I don't know what we're doing. All right, I got another question. It's gonna be
Okay.
awesome. Oh, hold on.
I don't want to wrap my face with it.
That was awesome.
Okay. I'm sweating.
What's this? Look at this, bud. Look at that. It honestly tastes good.
Pride comes with a fall. That's it.
Yeah. Let's start quoting scriptures. John 3:16. He's crying. Ninja, get over here. Where are you at? Get in on this, right here. He's crying. Pride goes, John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave.
Don't touch me. Don't touch my face. Put the gloves
Get
on.
in that, Ninja. Get in here. Look, he's crying out of his
John
eye.
11:35.
Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. Me too.
Look at those tears, brother. Look at those tears. Look to the crowd for me, please. Look to the crowd. Go back to that. Look.
Why are we? That's a bad view. All right.
Have you ever touched Crowder's beard?
No, I went to Graceland with him, and like walked around Graceland, which was very bizarre. Junior high Micah was freaking out big. It was like really nice. You keep asking me questions that are very hard for me to turn around. Like, have you ever touched Reg's hair? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the translatable question to you.
The answer is yes. Yes,
Okay,
I
well,
have.
that's sweet.
Yes, I have. Yes. This is good stuff. Well, hey man,
Hey, man.
I love you.
I love you.
You know, we connect over our weaknesses more than we do our strengths.
We ate McAllister's last time we were together. Let's go back to that. That'd be great.
Remember we went to
We
Payway?
went through the gloves.
We went to Payway.
Oh, we did go to Payway.
And they said, we're out of rice.
Yeah.
I said, that's
Like,
all
that's,
you...
like, that's like half of what you do.
That's what you do.
I can't touch my cup anymore.
I can't, I'm shaking. All right. Josephine saved me. Come save
How many
me.
did you eat? You eat like...
High five.
Okay, 5 too.
Who's your favorite child?
I don't know. The little one's the one that gives me the least amount of trouble.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Who's your favorite basketball player?
Of all time?
Currently.
Oh, currently, I like LeBron. I really do. That's a very unpopular choice.
Is LeBron better than Jordan? The
The
answer is yes. That's an easy one.
LeBron's better than Jordan? Yeah, I would say
100%
that
easily.
he is.
I can't breathe.
Nobody's came in the league with more pressure than LeBron James did.
Yeah.
15 years old. Who's your favorite basketball player?
Jimmy Banks. Honestly, I love Steph Curry. Like, I love Steph Curry so much. He changed the game. He changed the game.
Who's your team?
My team?
Yeah.
I don't have a team. Alabama Crimson Tide for football. That's all it is.
Yikes.
Was that Satan's animal I heard out there? What was that? All right, that's it for us.
Okay.
I'm officially crying. It's happening.
Yeah,
I
where's
got
the
tears.
camera at now? Get over here.
This stuff is hot.
Take a very unflattering view of that.
It hurts just sitting there.
You didn't even drink your milk.
I love you, buddy.
Drink some of that.
Okay, Josephine, why don't you come up? We've had a fun night. Josephine's gonna come up and wrap this up. Our team's gonna strike these wings, and I'm gonna go.
Thank you guys for having me. It's fun.
Yeah, good night, Micah.